It finished Spain 3, Croatia 0. A brilliant night for Luis de la Fuente's team. Could have been more. Croatia could have scored a couple of goals as well. Patrice?
And of course, I think to start like that, 3-0. I don't want to, don't give credit to Spain because they play an amazing game, but also Croatia are missing so many chances. I was like thinking maybe they can come back if they score one goal, but the goal didn't want to get in today.
Yeah. And we say a welcome to that man, David James, sat next to Patrice there. Spain were obviously brilliant. They got the 3 goals. Croatia had chances, but Unai Simon, as a goalkeeper, how impressed were you with his performance tonight?
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone played really well, really well for Spain, including Simon in goal. And there's part of me where you're going to look at the result and think, wow, Spain are beating Croatia 3-0. If it's not for him, it's not 3-0.
Yes.
We'll get to the penalty in a moment, but it suggests that Spain aren't quite as good as they have been in the past, which means the likes of Italy and Albania will be going, we can get at them.
Yeah. Definitely. Right, let's remind ourselves then of the goals. Alvaro Morata, we spoke about him before the game. He got off to the perfect start. Patrice, you would have loved this because you were saying before the start, weren't you, about Alvaro Morata?
Alvaro playing with him, I think, like I say, great first touch. He get away from the defender and his weakest foot finish with the left-footed. But this is really important for Alvaro because he's a player, he works with confidence. And sometimes when he miss chance like that, you can lose him all the game. So even for the tournament, he will get
some feet.
Superb, yeah, superb. I mean, it's a look at the defection. Anyone's upset with conceding goals, as you know, Patrice, but his footwork was superb, absolutely superb. In such tight quarters, even the third goal by Carvajal there. I mean, it's a wonderful ball in by the youngest man to have an assist, youngest man to take a throw in,
youngest man to do everything at the Euros.
David, what do you think about, because we talk with Sunil about Carvajal scoring that goal and those defenders sometimes playing the line when you have only one player. Sunil was saying maybe because he was Carvajal, maybe if it was Morata, the defender, will be closer touching his shirt. But I quite like, as a coach, you will have to question also.
Yeah, but every goal will be questioned. I mean, the one thing I would say, when Yamal was on the ball, this is a guy who's going to chop on his left, chop on his right, and I think everyone was kind of waiting for him to do something. But he's put the early ball in, and it's fantastic.
Great cross.
Now, Croatia did have a chance to make it 3-1 from the penalty spot, and there is a little bit of controversy about this. First of all, let's have a look at the penalty incident. First of all, Patrice, do you think it's a penalty?
Yes, I think it's a penalty, and David will disagree with me. But sometimes we can't agree on everything, because sometimes I feel like even if he can maybe stay up. Yes, he exaggerates, but that touch.
It's a penalty. There's no question it's a penalty, but it's that bit there.
So what do you think?
Do you think he could have stayed on his feet and put it in an empty net?
Yeah, the goal is there, begging. I think what he's done is try to get Rodri sent off. I'm not sure if he knows it's Rodri. He probably actually does know and wants Rodri not to miss the next game because it gives them a chance later on in the group. But instead, he falls over, gets the penalty. The issue with the penalty was a big one. Yes, there's encroachment, but Simon's foot is not on the line. And according to the law, you have to have part of your foot on the line as the ball is kicked. So what they should have done is retaken the penalty. I don't think it was going to change.
So is his
Here we go. Go on, please lift it up. Oh, God. Oh, this is agonising. That is a foot off the line.
So that now, where Michael Oliver, the referee, gave it direct free kick for Spain, it should have been a retake for Croatia.
I think it should have been a retake.
That's why we have an expert goalkeeper, but because, to be honest, I didn't see that. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
The encroachment bit's not a problem. As you can see, he's inside the box and he lays the assist. Of course. It should be a replay, and then it's potentially 3-1.
In that situation, what happens first? Because Unai Simon's got his foot off the line, but at the same time, Perisic is in the box.
He's saved the penalty. If
So
the
it
penalty
doesn't matter that they're both happening at the
then
same
it would be a
time.
retake for the encroachment. It was always going to be a retake one way or the other, but the fact that Simon saved the penalty should have been a retake because his influence was against the rules because his foot.
And all the referee, when there's a penalty taking, they all have their eyes on the people trying to come in the box, so you will never see what David saw, like even myself, I didn't see like the goalkeeper was like over the line. So this is, you also have to be a goal expert.
The one thing I will say, they have Hawkeye in operation, which is like 50,000 frames a second. They might see a little bit better than me.
Yeah.
But that's why
Maybe.
But I always say, David, the problem is not the VR, it's the people behind the VR, and they didn't have you. So
they didn't have you. David, we need you. No, we want you here. Yeah, we don't want you in the VAR hub. No way. Right. What a performance that was from Lamine Yamal. Like we say, the youngest player to do anything at Euros. If he scores, he'll become the youngest player to score at Euros as well. That ball was nothing short of sensational. David, during that, you were shaking your head going, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, watching it again in replay, the fact that he's put the ball in such a way, you can see the defence, the Croatian defence, they're kind of wondering what's going to happen, and no one can do anything about it.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant cross, because also even as a defender, it can end up easy as an own goal because you're facing your own goal. It's a great cross, and if you touch it a little bit, it can end up in your goal.
What does a keeper do there? Do you come, do you stay, what do you do?
Go in the change room, start throwing things about.
Right. Many Croatia players around him, but no one can get close.
Yeah, I mean, going through the legs, first of all, is always going to cause him problems. But also, as well, the way that he struck the ball wasn't traditional in a sense. So the keeper wouldn't have picked up any clues. And as you see, it's like a desperation dive at the end, but what a finish. This
has put Spain in a pretty good position now, hasn't it? I'm sure they're hoping Italy-Albania is going to be a draw a little bit later on.
It will be 3-3.
3-3.
No, I'm joking.
You were right, David. You were right with your prediction. Close to Brighton.
Honest, yeah.
We all laughed at you when you said 5-0 Germany. Yeah. It was 5-1.
It's not going to be 3-0. No, Spain they're in a fantastic position. I think for Croatia though, the problem is this is an older team, and I think in my view, I think it's one tournament too much for too many of them.
It's a must-win for them against Albania on Wednesday, isn't it? Right. It was a brilliant performance for Spain. It was a brilliant result for Spain, and that puts them in a brilliant position after one game in Group B.
Thoughts about Tottenham Hotspurs? They came flying out at the start of the season with a quite entertaining, quite foot-forward, exciting football. With fresh tactics from the new coach Ange Postecoglou, Spurs are quite different from the ultra-defensive mindset of Antonio Conte last season, which borders on the mundane and quite underwhelming play. Since then, they have petered out beginning around the middle of the season. They have been found out on multiple occasions, their openness and high line making for a lot of defensive errors. Add to that the unwillingness of the coach to compromise on the style of play, which could probably be better with some kind of adaptational changes, makes them vulnerable to attacks. That being said, they can be congratulated for challenging for a place in the Champions League, the 4th position, fighting with Aston Villa. Even though this result means they stay in the 5th position, it will be interesting to see what direction they take next season. Thoughts about Manchester City? As if anybody needs to be reminded of, Manchester City has been the best team in England for a while now and one of the best in the world. It is particularly impressive the way they seem to reserve their energy, skill and fight for the ending stages of the play season. With just a game remaining after this match, they are within reach yet again of another unbelievable record for Premier League titles in a row. This at the end of a record-equaling treble last year is mind-boggling. Also kudos to Arsenal, who have sometimes lead and now tails them so closely, giving City no room to be less than perfect. The only blip in their season is the loss to Real Madrid at the Champions League quarter-final, although they lose the match in a penalty shootout. You would not bet on them not to win against West Ham at home in the final game.